Ukraine didn't strike the Crimea Bridge. It destroyed everything needed to fix it.
This is CNN Breaking News.
At 4:50 a.m., just 16 kilometers from the bridge approach, the night over Taman detonated. A chain of explosions ripped through a tightly packed column of nearly 30 military trucks, each loaded with custom-engineered hydraulic systems and industrial oxygen. Within seconds, temperatures surged past 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit, and a fireball climbed high enough to punch through the fog like a false dawn. What was meant to heal a strategic artery instead became a burning choke point, visible for miles. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a random strike. It was a calculation. In this video, we break down how Ukraine turned timing, weather, and asymmetry into a decisive blow, step by step, minute by minute. As you watch, ask yourself, if destroying a bridge is difficult, what happens when you destroy everything needed to fix it? Let me know your thoughts as we go, and don't forget to subscribe for what comes next. 4:44 a.m. The road toward the Crimean Bridge is barely visible. Dense fog presses down on the Taman approach, shrinking visibility to less than 600 meters and swallowing sound as if the morning itself is holding its breath. Along that narrow stretch of asphalt, a Russian convoy of nearly 30 KAMAZ trucks creeps forward, bumper to bumper, carrying what Moscow cannot afford to lose: custom hydraulic couplings, industrial oxygen tanks, and pressure systems valued at just under $500 million. Without them, the bridge remains wounded. With them, it might live. Above the fog, the sky tells a different story. At 15,000 feet, 8 Dovebush T-10 heavy drones drift silently, maintaining strict emission control. No radar, no chatter, just inert shapes against a gray ceiling. Then, without warning, the first move is made. At 4:46 a.m., the hatches open. Not a swarm, just a dozen FPV gliders released deliberately, almost casually. They fan out, descending slowly, riding the wind like discarded scraps of plastic. This is not an attempt to destroy. This is a test, a scalpel cut to see where the system bleeds. Down below, the Pantsir S-1 crews react. Thermal cameras sweep the fog. Turrets twitch. A short burst of 30mm fire rips upward, followed by the launch of two 57 E-6 interceptors, each costing more than the drones they chase by several orders of magnitude. The missiles vanish into the mist. One detonates early, another finds its mark. 2 gliders disappear. That is enough. Ukraine is no longer guessing. In less than 90 seconds, they measure everything: reaction time, turret rotation speed, firing discipline, and most importantly, the hesitation. The Russian crews are alert, but not synchronized. Confident, but already stretched. The convoy keeps rolling, unaware that the battle has already begun. No flames yet, no headlines. Just a quiet exchange in the fog where a handful of cheap machines force one of the most heavily defended zones in Europe to show its hand. This was only the opening move. 4:48 a.m. The fog hasn't moved, but the battlefield has. After the first probe, Ukraine doesn't rush the kill. It widens the pressure. High above the cloud layer, the Dovebush T-10S shift formation, spacing out by several hundred meters. Then the second wave begins. This time, it isn't subtle. Between 30 and 34 additional FPV gliders peel away from the motherships and slide into the mist. Their profiles are small. Their heat signatures are almost non-existent. But electronically, they arrive loud. Very loud. At 4:49 a.m., the 92 N6E radar of the S-400 flares to life for a brief window. What it sees isn't reality. It's multiplication. Tracks blossom across the screen. Over 230 returns in under 6 seconds, stretching from sea level to mid-altitude. To the system, it looks like a mixed formation of strike aircraft and decoys converging at once. The Russian commander hesitates. He knows this pattern. Keep the radar on, and every emitter becomes a beacon. Turn it off, and the sky turns opaque. After less than 20 seconds, the order is given. The S-400 goes silent again. Everything drops to the Pantsir S-1 units. Thermal optics sweep left to right. Turrets accelerate, then decelerate, then snap again. Ammunition counters tick downward. A single Panzer burns through nearly 900 rounds in under a minute, chasing shapes that refuse to stay solid. 5, maybe 6 gliders are destroyed. One Panzer takes a hit from debris, nothing catastrophic, but enough to degrade a sensor array. And now, the cost imbalance becomes visible. Millions of dollars in interceptors and ammunition are spent to erase machines worth less than a used motorcycle. The fog absorbs the flashes. The convoy keeps moving. But the defenders are no longer calm. They are reacting. Pause here and think about it. If you were in that control cabin, watching your screens flood with targets you can't classify, would you conserve fire or double down? Because that decision matters. The defense network is still standing, but it's breathing hard now. Timelines are slipping, coordination is thinning, and above the fog, Ukraine is watching the data stream settle into something readable. The system hasn't broken yet, but it's close enough that the next move won't be a test. 4:52 a.m. The fog thickens, but the rhythm of the fight changes. This is no longer pressure. This is commitment. High above, the Dovebush T-10S transmit a short encrypted burst. The order is simple: pattern delta. What remains of the swarm, just over 40 FPV gliders, abandons its slow drift. Wings tuck, angles sharpen. Descent profiles collapse into a single vector. In seconds, harmless silhouettes turn into fast-moving threats, accelerating past 190 kilometers per hour as gravity takes over. Below, the Panzer S1 crews sense it before they see it. Thermal screens blur, targets multiply, then converge. Turrets spin up to maximum traverse. Twin 30mm cannons open fire, pouring thousands of rounds into the fog every minute. The sound is continuous now, a tearing roar that drowns out radio calls and shreds any illusion of control. The first wave doesn't survive. 10 gliders vanish almost instantly, erased by overlapping fire. Circuits fail, frames fragment, but physics favors numbers. The angles are wrong. The approach is too wide. A system built to face threats from one direction is suddenly forced to defend all directions at once. At 4:54 a.m., one glider slips through. It doesn't strike armor. It doesn't hunt radar. It impacts the command vehicle, the node tying the battery together. The detonation is compact but decisive. Screens go dark. Coordination evaporates. Seconds later, another glider reaches the western launcher rails. Stored ordnance ignites. A secondary blast flips the vehicle sideways, hurling debris across the checkpoint. That is the moment everything tilts. Firelight punches through the fog, turning it orange, then white. The air fills with pressure waves and fragments. The remaining Panzer units keep firing, but the pattern is gone. Each crew is now fighting alone, burning ammunition at a rate that cannot be sustained. The convoy stops. Drivers abandon engines. Vehicles sit frozen beneath the chaos, packed tightly together, unaware that the defense meant to protect them has just lost its spine. The system hasn't collapsed completely, but its center is gone, and what follows will not be controlled. 4:56 a.m. For a brief moment after the explosions, the fog glows and then begins to settle. To the Russian commander on the ground, this looks like containment. The swarm has been bloodied, the command vehicle is gone, but the sky is quieter now. That is when he reaches for the last card. A single word is passed down the line. 4 Tiger M vehicles, held back until now, roll their launchers upward and fire almost simultaneously. These are not interceptors. No flames chase targets. Instead, canister rounds burst overhead, releasing a dense conductive aerosol. Microscopic metallic particles spreading outward like an artificial weather system. Within seconds, the air changes. The cloud expands across the checkpoint, sinking and thickening, turning the fog into something heavier. RF links collapse. Control signals fracture. Video feeds stutter, then go black. Nearly 20 FPV gliders lose guidance at once. They don't explode. They simply fall, tumbling, skidding, striking asphalt and steel with useless final impacts. From the Russian perspective, it works. The sky clears. The immediate threat dissolves. Ammunition counters stop flashing red. For the first time in minutes, the rate of fire drops below panic levels. A battered Panzer S-1 still standing rotates its turret slowly, searching for targets that are no longer there. The numbers look reassuring. Roughly half the swarm is gone. The remaining gliders are scattered, disconnected, ineffective. On paper, the defense has recovered. Millions of dollars have been burned, but the convoy is intact. The road is still blocked, but not destroyed. What the defenders don't see is the altitude gap. Above the aerosol layer, the air is clean. Signals travel normally. Sensors still function. And far beyond the reach of the silver mist, a different platform has been moving steadily closer, timing its approach to the exact moment the ground crews believe the fight is over. The Russian network has done what it was designed to do. It stopped drones. It did not stop the operation. As the metallic fog drifts and thins, attention remains fixed on the ground and the empty sky above it, never on what is slipping in beneath the horizon, carrying the weight of the next decision. 4:59 a.m. While attention remains fixed on the falling drones, something else is already inside the envelope. At less than 100 feet above the water, an F-16 Block 50 cuts through the mist, its silhouette flattened against the curvature of the sea. Speed holds steady, just below Mach 0.9, fast enough to stay unpredictable, slow enough to remain quiet. For nearly 4 minutes, it goes unseen. Then the warning comes, not from radar, but from silence breaking. The Kolchuga M passive array catches a faint electronic heartbeat, a radar altimeter pulsing every fraction of a second. It's enough. Coordinates resolve. The picture sharpens. At 5:01 a.m., the S-400 battery comes back to life. Two 48 N-6DM missiles erupt from their tubes, accelerating past Mach 5 in under 4 seconds. They don't need a full radar lock yet. They know where the aircraft was and where it must be going. Inside the cockpit, alerts stack. The jet banks hard, pulling 8 to 9 Gs, converting speed into lateral distance. Sea spray flashes beneath the wings. There is no room to climb, no space to run. The gap closes from 18 kilometers to 10 almost instantly. Then the jet does the unexpected, throttle forward, afterburner lit. Instead of retreating, it surges ahead, building energy for a maneuver that only works once. This isn't evasion anymore. It's positioning. The missiles are still coming. But now, the timeline belongs to whoever acts first. 05:05 a.m. The GBU-39s are already falling. Released moments earlier, the 4 bombs separate cleanly and begin correcting their paths, wings adjusting in silence. They are not hunting armor or radar. Their aim is narrower, precise. One locks onto the third truck in the convoy, its canvas cover hiding pressurized oxygen cylinders packed wall to wall. Impact comes without warning. The bomb punches through steel and detonates inside the cargo bay. The initial blast is contained. Then the oxygen ruptures. In less than a millisecond, the fireball feeds itself, temperatures spiking past 2,900 degrees Fahrenheit. Overwhelming metal, rubber, and insulation alike. The shockwave does the rest. Flames leap outward, cracking open adjacent fuel tanks and hydraulic drums. Atomized fluid ignites instantly. One truck erupts, then another. A cascading failure racing through more than 20 vehicles locked bumper to bumper with nowhere to run. Secondary detonations follow. Stored munitions cook off. Sensors melt. The remaining Panzer units are swallowed by heat they were never designed to endure. From kilometers away, the horizon flashes white, then orange, bright enough to cut through the fog like a false sunrise. In under 90 seconds, the checkpoint ceases to exist as a functioning site. What remains is not a convoy, but a scar, stretching across the road where time itself has been burned out of the schedule. When the smoke thins and the numbers are tallied, the meaning of this strike becomes impossible to ignore. Ukraine didn't need to destroy a bridge. It only needed to destroy time. By eliminating a single convoy, it froze an entire repair plan, stretched logistics across hostile terrain, and turned one of the most strategic arteries in the region into a long-term bottleneck. This wasn't about firepower versus firepower. It was about forcing a system built to stop bombers and missiles to exhaust itself against tools that cost a fraction of its defenses. Expensive networks were pushed into impossible choices. Cheap assets dictated the tempo, and in that imbalance, the real damage was done. Now the question shifts to you. Was this a reckless gamble or a carefully calculated demonstration of modern warfare? And if logistics decide wars, how many more battles are already lost before a single shot is fired? Share your thoughts below and subscribe if you want to keep breaking down the moments that quietly change the course of conflicts.